Alrighty, we are back. So let's get to it. Hey everybody, Steve here from The Varied Life, the retired hobby tech guy, American expat in Korea, and today we're talking about crafting the epic Galactic Armory Borderlands mask and the eyes wide open. Yeah, today we're going to be kind of doing a little bit of a look, and you can see kind of like right there, in case you want to take a little closer look. There it is right there. The Ripper mask that we got from Galactic Armory, and we printed that out all in one piece. Of course, you have to be a Patreon user of Galactic Armory, and they have two versions of it. They have a version where it's fully put together and you can do a print in place, and then they have another one where it's cut up into different parts so that you can print them, obviously for smaller printers like bamboo and build areas that are 256 cube. George, hey, George is back. Hey, good to see you. We're talking about the Galactic Armory Ripper mask, and we're going to be doing a little bit of work on that. Not too much, but we're going to get into that. So with that being said, kind of working on the eye piece, and there's some problems with that. So we're going to dig into that, but I need to do a little bit of a transition. So what I'm going to end up doing is I have to move the microphone, Mr. Microphone, over to the other side, and so we're just going to do a little transition video here, and boom. Our top-down view, and so here we are. This is the Ripper mask. So let me see. Oh, that's not the right one. I don't want that view. I want that view. There we go. It's a good thing I wasn't in an uncompromising state of attire, or a compromised state of attire. So anyway, and I think the other thing we can do is we can start our tablet, and we can bring that up to speed, and so we can kind of see some comments or whatever. But as that is booting up, what we can end up doing is taking a look at the Ripper mask, and there it is. So this is the Galactic Armory Ripper mask. We've done a little bit of painting on it. We got some brown. We've got the sand color that we end up getting there, and then of course we have the black as well. So yeah, this is a pretty good mask. I like it. I think it's going to turn out really well. However, there's some other things that came with this. You notice the eye slot here is, I mean, it's nice. There's this other piece that was printed, and it was printed flat, and then you just had to bend this in accordance with the curvature of the mask, because there's actually a little slit in here where this is supposed to go in. The problem is trying to heat that piece up and fit it into that slot. It doesn't fully seat in there, and there's just too many. It's almost like this was made as an afterthought. And so we're going to try to take a look at this, because we can see that these bottom edges here are a bit too high, and so what that ends up doing is we've got a little bit of a spot here where it's too high up here, and the corners of this right here are just too high up, and it doesn't fully seat in there. It just seems like it's a very odd looking piece, and so what we're going to end up doing is we're going to try to kind of just trim off a little bit and do something like that, and we'll see if that will fix the problem a little bit. And again, it's just such an odd, I wish they had made this red piece where it was actually curved and fit into the actual piece, the slot that is supposed to go there, because right now it just isn't working right. It's just kind of an odd shape, and it doesn't fully seat into that slot no matter how much I heat up that red piece there. And so the problem with that is I think we can, let's try to trim a little bit more. I've got a backup plan in case this gets screwed up. And so we will, let's just go ahead and we'll trim a little bit more. And that was that side, and then we'll kind of do this side a little bit more. Let's see if we can kind of get this little piece there. These shears are great. So, trying to get this piece to fit in there and seat fully into that slot, it's just not, see, it's still a problem. And now it's, I mean, it's a little better, but it's almost like the straight piece here needs to go up a little bit. But that's such a, man, it is, and again, it's not, try to soak this in hot water, the red piece, and to get it all flexible and stuff. It just, I mean, that sits a little bit better, so we could go for that. And then glue that in there, and then we could do some other stuff for the eyes, put in some screening. With that, that's one solution there. So this would be easy in the fact that if you got some screen material from like a window screen, you just need a small piece, put it on there, and you would have that effect. Another thing that you could end up doing is like what we see here, is this big red screen that I printed out, which is this right here. It's got a couple of bad spots on it, like right there and right there. But for the most part, we've got that. And if we put that up to the camera, you would be able to see, but it would kind of shield your eyes from this. And so I'm not sure if we want to go this route. So we could do something like that. And that is kind of an interesting effect, but it doesn't lay flat. And so what I ended up doing is kind of tracing out a template for this, and hopefully, because this is a little bit more malleable than, you know, the thickness of this, that we're going to try to trace it onto this, cut this out, and see if that'll work. So what I end up doing here, we gotta find a good place. So this part right here. So what we'll end up doing is we'll just put this here. We'll get our Sharpie, and I guess we could use that straight edge there. And we'll just kind of do the Sharpie thing and trace along this piece. And see if we can't get this into that slot and see how that looks. And I also have another option as well. If you remember on the other Ripper mask, seriously, we good to go? Yeah, we're good to go on that. As you remember on the previous Ripper mask, what we ended up doing is we had a combination of the window screen material that you can see there combined with some privacy screen window film. And so we kind of did that. So that came out really nice. And we get the shine, we get some texture on there. You can see out, but you can't necessarily see in because it'll be dark on the other side. So that came out really good. So that is still an option. So with this, there's something to be said for this as well. And this material here, I think I got it off of Maker World, if I'm not mistaken. Maker World or Printables. And all this shape is is the infill. So you take away the top layers, so you have 0 top layers, you have 0 bottom layers, and then all you're left with is the infill material. And so that's how we kind of got this mesh material. So what we're going to end up doing is we will cut this out and see if we can get this to fit in that slot. And then if that fits in there, this could be pretty good, because then we could still, this would be a little bit more malleable, and we could even print this in blue with the Creality Hyper PLA blue. And that might be something that we would want to do. So Rob H comes in here. Hey, says hi, gives a little heart action there. Appreciate that. So we're trying to kind of work on this ripper mask that we have and getting the eyes done. And hopefully this will be a good template. So doing this live, we'll see what happens. Because Lord knows, everything goes perfect when you do a live stream, right? So there is our ripper mask, and we're going to turn this over. Let's move some of this stuff. And now, let's see if we can put this in there and see if this fits a little bit better than the that other thing that we had. And you know what? Look at that. That is a lot better. I like that. And man, that works out really well. So is there any adjustment that we need? To get in that slot. We can get that in there. I think we might need to trim a little tiny bit on this edge right there. So let's see if we can go ahead and we can do that, and also on the other side as well. Just a little bit. Cross our fingers. Let's see how this goes. Is this going to work? That's better. And yeah, that's actually, well, I don't know. That is close. Trying to see where we're getting a sticking point. But actually, that kind of fits in there. So actually, I think that works out pretty good. So that is not bad at all. And like I said, what I could end up doing is taking this and making this in blue, and I think that could work out really well, is to kind of have that blue color on there, kind of like the color that we used that we're going to have on this, which is going to be a cobalt blue, but probably from this Art Deco paints that I just ended up getting the other day, just yesterday, matter of fact. So that's the current status that we have on this. And we could even still use some of that window screen tint, put that behind this, and so that way we kind of get a reflective surface, and then we have this on top of that, and I think that could look really cool. So I don't know. This could work out as far as the Ripper mask with the blue, because if we have this color of blue on there, that could really offset that red. We'd have some good contrast. So we might run with this. We could do it with blue, and then maybe we could even, if we did this whole piece in blue, so you'd have the blue stripe coming up and going down. This mesh material would be blue, the same cobalt blue. We could paint over it. And then we could cut another small piece out of this to actually do the eyes, kind of like an oval eye thing here in red. And so we'd get that contrast. So we'd have the blue of the stripe, we get this would be blue, and then we could have the individual eye slit being like the cobalt blue on top of this. And I think that could be good too. Man, that could work out well. So there it is. We're gonna have to do some more printing. And it's a good thing because I just ended up getting some blue. So yeah, we took a little bit of a break from painting, and really, I don't know if there's much of a break for painting that we need on this. In the previous mask that I ended up doing, in this one here, we spray painted the sand on here, and then I hand painted everything else, which took a lot of time. It took, without breaks, this one took 4.5 hours. And, you know, there's a lot of detail work that we ended up doing. Again, not counting the break time, not counting the visor or the straps or anything, just painting by itself. And it's turned out pretty good. But in doing the black on this portion here, painting all that by hand, it was like 10 minutes or so. And so what I decided to do with this helmet is to reduce the amount of time. And what I ended up doing is spray painting this with the sand. That took like 1.5 minutes. We taped this off, which took like 5 minutes to tape off the tan. And then we spray painted this black. Again, that's like another 1.5 minutes. And then we taped up the rest of the helmet and we did the brown. And so that was like another 1.5 minutes. So yeah, we don't have much time. It took longer to tape off the helmet than it was to do the painting of all 3 colors on here. So yeah, this is definitely going to be a good thing. And I think this is going to work well. So what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to print this material out in blue, the Creality Hyper PLA blue color, and we'll do another outline of this just like this, and we'll see how that goes. And yeah, we'll continue on. So a little break from the painting to do some little bit of detail work, because I just had an epiphany and I was like, hey, I'm going to print this out. And again, this is the infill material. So I ended up doing honeycomb on this. You could do grid, you could do, you know, other types of infill patterns for this to kind of change the look. So don't feel that you just have to do honeycomb. You could do grid, you could do, you know, some other stuff in there, but I think this is going to work out well. So anyway, if you have any ideas or suggestions, put them in the comment section down below. And after I print out another sheet of this in blue, we'll come back and we'll do another live stream. And yeah, we'll see how that works. So with that being said, let's go ahead and we will transfer back over to the desk and get all that set up. There we go. So anyway, yeah, that I think that's going to work really well when we're talking about this Galactic Armory mask. Again, it is a Patreon item, so in other words, you have to pay a monthly fee and you get a bunch of free files. That Ripper mask ends up, I like it a lot. It looks really good, printed in place. I think the smaller Ripper mask from Borderlands, that was 16 hours. I think that was like a 27 or 30 hour print, something like that. all one piece, came out great on the Corality K2 Plus at a 0.16 millimeter height, like a 7% infill with gyroid, super solid, don't have any problems. I could probably go down to 5% and I would still be happy. Use 3 walls on that, because if you do any sanding, if you do like 2 walls or 1, you could actually sand through it and that would cause some problems. So yeah, that's what we got going on. We got some good stuff. Yeah, hand pink waving. Rob H is there, George, checking this stuff out, and a number of other people. So yeah, we're going to continue on with that, and I would really appreciate it if you could like the video. If you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. That would help with the algorithm and the YouTube thing. And being a retired guy, this is just kind of a hobby thing. My life doesn't depend on YouTube. It's a fun hobby that I like to do, and you know, I put some money into this, and I just kind of enjoy it. I like it, and helping people out and doing some cool stuff as I'm retired. My bucket list includes a big cosplay armor suit one of these days. So yeah, a lot of stuff is really cool. 3D printing, engraving, resin printing, painting miniatures and figures and stuff like that. I took on a lot when I retired. So yeah, it's kind of a fun little thing. So anyway, like and subscribe to the channel. I would really appreciate that. That would probably be the best thing that you can do. And with the obligatory outro, you can contact me at the email address there. Coffee, link, box, you know the deal. But again, the very best thing that you could do is like the video. Don't worry about the coffee or anything else. Just like the video and subscribe. That would be the best thing that you could do. Okay, so we're going to go back to the drawing board. We're going to print out another sheet in blue, and sometime later today here in Korea, we will come back and do the eyes wide open, but this time they'll be in blue, and we'll see how that goes. Alrighty, so that's going to be it. We will see you all. Hang on and have a good one. Peace. Yeah, I'm pretty pleased with how that went.